Okay. Okay. So we are starting our third Chalk Talks in our series this winter for Hang Tough. Again, this is an opportunity for our players to interact with our guests that we invite. Anyone, we talked to a current player first session of this year, which was Grace Lato at Central Michigan University. And then our last session, we talked to Morgan Zirkle, who is a very well accomplished player at Marshall University and went on. She's playing at with Athletes Unlimited. She played with Team USA, two-time silver medalist, and very, very accomplished athlete. And now she's coaching at the University of Miami. So today we have Hannah. Is it Eslick? Is that how you pronounce it?
It's Eslick.
Eslick. Hannah Eslick. Just looking into Hannah's background and seeing some of the things about Hannah, she is a very intense ball player, I think, which is really cool. So I'd like to turn it over to Hannah and let her introduce herself. And as we go through this, I will, interject and ask some questions and just kind of lead the conversation on, and we'll try to wrap things up here by 8:45, so that way we can do a little question and answer session at the end. So Hannah, you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, I apologize. I lost my voice at practice today. So if I have to take a water break, I'm so sorry. But my name is Hannah. I am a grad student at GW. I'm using my COVID eligibility year this year. But I started my career at University of Maryland. I played there, transferred to GW. I was a part of GW's first ever championship team in 2019. Then the COVID year happened. So a season was canceled. And then the next season, 2021, we won another championship. So we now have two. This is my last year. I play shortstop. I played third base at Maryland, but I've always played short. So I kind of just moved around at Maryland. Play shortstop here. I am studying law. So super busy on the school side as well as the softball side. So grad school has been a very big adjustment for me academically, especially at an institution like this, where academics are very highly regarded. So just trying to still adjust. We head out tomorrow for our first tournament. So super excited about that. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm from the Baltimore area, so I've actually stayed close to home for both schools, which is super nice. I get to see my family a lot. I have younger siblings, so I'm able to go visit them and go to their sporting events. But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So how did you get involved? How did you get started with softball?
So my dad was a baseball player and my mom was a softball player. So I feel like I didn't really have a choice in the matter. But I actually played soccer. I was actually going to go to college for soccer. And then some schools were like reaching out about softball. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll play both. So I was kind of looking at like lower, like mid-major, so I could play both sports. And then I actually got some like pretty big softball offers. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll just go this route. So I actually started off pitching. I pitched like my entire career. And then in high school, somebody hit a line drive back at me and broke my hand. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm done. So I never pitched again. I kind of just moved to the infield and I kind of found a home at shortstop and I loved it. But yeah, my dad has been my coach my whole life until college, obviously. But me and my dad kind of had a super like close relationship and it was like something we could do together. So yeah, kind of through my parents, I would say.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, I was going to ask you who your biggest inspiration was, but it sounds like it was probably your dad.
Definitely my dad, yes.
So he was your high school coach as well?
No, so actually he was my like travel ball coach and
okay.
around like when I was coming into high school is when the travel ball organization I played with, which is Lady Orioles, they kind of got because I feel like travel ball in Maryland is not like the biggest thing. So we kind of like our organization kind of blew up a little bit because we had a lot of Division 1 players my grade. And so we started traveling to all the big tournaments and playing on the East Coast. And so my travel ball is like very near and dear to my heart. I love them. But my dad was super involved in travel ball. And I actually wasn't even gonna play high school softball. My team, it just like they weren't really that big, and like we barely had enough people to field a team. So I almost like just didn't even play just because it was like, is it worth the injury risk and whatnot? But ended up playing. So yeah, I played at a school called Glen Burnie High School. It's in Anne Arundel County, Maryland. And actually my freshman year of high school, they ended up going to states, which was so like, that was so awesome for them. But yeah.
So how did travel ball prepare you for high school ball and college?
I would say travel ball prepared me very well with the traveling aspect, especially in college. Playing travel ball on the East Coast and then going to school on the East Coast, very mirrored each other with the flights and then having school again on Monday. So I think that helped me a lot in my experience because we did fly every weekend that we played. And obviously, we don't play at home in college until like the 6th or 7th week, just because the weather it's way too cold. So I'm very thankful for having to go through that in high school because it wasn't such a culture shock in college when I had to hop on flights and then go to school the next day. So I'm very thankful for that experience.
What do you think made an athlete stand out in travel ball and in high school for colleges?
I think in my experience, like versatility, like if a college coach comes up to you and they're like, hey, what position do you play? Like, you play every position. Like that's what they want to hear. They don't want a one-sided athlete. Especially being in college now, pitchers who hit is like super in. And I know in travel ball that was not a thing. Like our pitchers did not hit, but now it's like so common. And so like that's one thing I've learned a lot is to just play everywhere. If you think you're an outfielder, take some reps in the infield. And my travel ball coach was very big on that. We would rotate all the time. And so I think college coaches definitely want to see like versatility because there's nothing worse than like you trying to get into the lineup, but you only play one position. So I would say definitely being adaptable and being able to learn all the positions.
That's a good answer. We definitely try to do the same thing, and at least within our travel organization too, so that way everybody's ready at any moment to jump in the game and play a role.
Right.
And I think you definitely need to play a couple different positions. How about in high school? So, what was your high school team like, and what kind of accomplishments did you have in high school?
So high school, so we were actually like kind of terrible. But it was just like it was for fun. Like my high school like was not competitive at all. So we kind of just like made the best of it. I was one of the first athletes out of my school to even play in college and the first ever Division 1. So like there was never really like a legacy or anything in my high school in softball wise. So we kind of just made the best of it. High school, I was like all Met, which is like Met, like the DMV kind of area, and like Capital Gazette and all that kind of stuff. And like my school had never really had that, so I got to get some cool banners at my high school, which was nice. I actually went back there during break because my sister plays basketball, and it was really cool. Like seeing they have a Hall of Fame now, and like so I got to get like sign my name, and it was really cool. It was really awesome.
Yeah, I think there's a really good message with that, because I mean, we have girls in a lot of different size schools, and I know that some of the smaller schools, they don't have the same talent pool as some of the larger schools, but when you play travel ball, It's easier to assemble a group of all-stars, to play on a team. But I think it's a good message that, keep your chin up. You can still get recognized, at your school, even if your school's not a great team. Still go out and, put your head down and, work the grind is what we tell the girls. So
Yeah, most of my teammates are from California. And the other day we were talking about high school and someone was like, yeah, I played with like so and so. I'm like, what? I was like, dude, I don't know one person from like around where I'm from. Like, it's just so funny the difference of like high school competitiveness from the East, from where I'm from to like my friends from like Orange County, California. I'm like, that's insane. But it's so cool. Like, and I'm so thankful for my experience though, because I would not trade that for anything. And like, I'm very big on like your roots and like where you come from and like paying it back. And so I love going to like when they played at states, they played at Maryland. I literally told my coach, I was like, I have to go to this game. Like I love going back there. They actually just like got a brand new home run fence. And I love that they're getting that, like getting stuff like that now.
yeah, definitely. So how did you get recognized in high school? Is it just through, just the local press, or did you go to some clinics or camps? Were you looking into going into college in softball, or was it kind of just a surprise that so many people were, contacting you to play softball after high school?
So I was in eighth grade and I was in Oklahoma City for the World Series. It was like Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And the Kentucky head coach was at our game and watched my game. And so the head coach was Courtney Deifel at Maryland, who is now at Arkansas, but that is the coach I committed to at Maryland and who recruited me. So the Kentucky coach called her and was like, hey, have you ever heard of this kid? Like, she's from Maryland, blah, blah, blah. And Deifel was like, no, like, get her contact info, whatever. So that I actually didn't know about this, but that Wednesday after the tournament, I got a call and they were like, we want you to come on a visit. And I was like, really? Like, oh my gosh, like it's only 30 minutes away, like Big Ten, like that's crazy. They had never seen me play. She was like, yes, like you've come like highly regarded, like we want to get you on a visit. So I set up a visit for like a football game, all this, and they offered me like that day on my visit. Had never seen me play, but they had the Kentucky coach had like recorded and like sent film and stuff. And so my recruiting story is like pretty interesting because I never sent an email. I never did any of that. We just went to tournaments that had so many coaches at them. Um, so I committed to Maryland and then the coach left about 8 months later. And I was a freshman in high school. So I had so much time. So I opened my recruiting back up and I took some visits. I took a visit to UCF. I took a visit to Delaware, like a couple of schools. And then the coach got hired and honored my previous like scholarship and whatnot. And so I ended up still committing to Maryland going there. But I did have a little open of my recruitment when the coaching staff happened or like the coaching switch changed. But yeah, my recruiting story is interesting because I never went through the whole emails and that. It happened straight through travel ball at a showcase tournament.
Yeah, we try to encourage our teams to go to these, those types of tournaments as well, because you just never know who's going to be there that could see you. I know a lot of our players want to stay local. So we try to pick like blue chip tournaments and state tournaments that are here in Michigan, but I think it's important to try to mix in and go to a regional tournament, something that you could be seen by, you never know, just like what happened with you. I think it's really cool when we talk to each player that comes on this. We talk to them about their recruiting story, and every one of them are just so different. It's not the typical recruiting story. Somebody, I think Grace Lato, she was looking at Penn State, and then she just kind of looked into Central Michigan, and she fell in love with the campus, and that's where she went. So I think it's really good to share those experiences with a group. Um, so how has it been playing in college? There was a transition. Did you feel that there was a transition from high school to college? And what was it? Was it like the speed of the game? Was it that all the players, just the level of play was much higher? Because I know that you played on, it sounds like a pretty decent, like a national travel team. to some regards.
Yeah, so going into a Power 5 school as a freshman, and you're playing with girls who are like 23 years old. I was 18. Like that, I think that's a very big change. Like you're a grown adult. Like it's very interesting. My transition to college was a little easier because I was close to home, and I'm very thankful for that. My parents would, at a drop of a hat, would come in if I needed like some loving. They would come take me to dinner. um I think academically my transition was smooth into college. I just remember the my freshman year was hard. I did end up transferring from that university, so there was like other factors that like played into my freshman year. um but I think the biggest thing was time management during season. Because you go through your fall and you don't travel anywhere, you're playing your fall home games. But when you start flying places and there's time differences in your homework, I think time management was like super was a big change for me, just because you're in six classes and some labs, and you miss class a lot. So I think that was my biggest adjustment, was like the time management aspect. And then when I transferred to GW, academically it was a major change, and that what I was not expecting. I was a sophomore. It's like, I've already been here, I've just got to learn the team. No, it was a very big change for me, coming to this institution. And also I think trying to connect with like your professors and letting them know, like, look, I'm gonna miss class, but I will do this and this to make it up, and that kind of stuff is like super important in college, and you have to just learn that. um but my adjustment, I feel like, was pretty smooth, and definitely being close to home helped me with that, being close to home at both schools.
How about the level of play? Did you see much of a difference? I mean, like, I guess you were saying like there's an age gap, so there's definitely players that are more developed.
Right.
Did you get weightlifting every day? I mean, did you weightlift prior to
So I
college?
didn't really get super big into lifting until like my senior year. I would say I got like a personal trainer back home. But conditioning in college is a different thing. That I'm still not used to that. We die like a lot, but that was a big thing for me. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. But definitely learning like Olympic lifts and stuff, like GW, we do a lot of Olympic lifting, a lot of cleans and snatches and stuff. And so I love learning about all of that. And it's super interesting, and learning your body and figuring out, okay, this is going to make me sore. But like level of play wise, I was just think like adjusting to learning, like, this is a business. Like, this coach, they need to win. Like, this lineup, you're fighting into a lineup that's like their job to win. Because in travel ball, like, it's competitive, but it's not like someone's going to get fired over it. So I think a really big adjustment in college was like, you have to perform, and like you need to get into that lineup. So that was I would say, a pretty big adjustment. But definitely strength and conditioning is way different in college, but I love it. And just talking to your trainers about like, okay, like when I do that, like kind of makes my back way too sore, like that stuff. Our staff here is great with that. And they'll work with you.
What position did you jump into when you went to college? Because you said you were a shortstop in high school. Did you get right into the middle infield right away, or?
So when I came in, we had an all-American or all-conference shortstop, and she was a junior. So I was like, all right, bet, like I got this. And then like 2 weeks into school, she was like, hey, you want to play third? I was like, yep, I'll play third. So I had never played third a day of my life. And I ended up starting at third like half of our games. So I learned a lot very quickly, because especially playing third in college, like never playing it, then I was like, I'm so close to them. Like, this is crazy. So I played third at Maryland, transferred to GW. I played second for the first 2 weeks of our season. I transferred in the middle of the year. So I transferred in at December. We played like a month later, played second for about 2 weeks. And then I took over shortstop, and I haven't left there since. But I didn't really move around too much. I kind of just stayed right there. But I definitely do not miss third. Shortstop is definitely my home. but had to do what I had to do. I wanted to hit and be in the lineup.
Yeah, you gotta tell coach that you'll go in wherever they need you.
And that I said, sure, I'll play, like put me in.
Yeah, and after you were hit with a ball in high school at the pitcher's mound, you're probably even closer
Oh
at
my
third
gosh.
base when you're.
I was like, and then like they think someone's gonna bunt, like, all right, move up. I'm
Yep.
like, okay.
Yeah, for sure. You got to be fearless for sure. Um, what do you think? What are some of the biggest positive aspects of playing in college?
Definitely the gear. Not gonna lie, you get some nice stuff. I definitely love getting all of the swag, and my school changed to Adidas. And so we signed a huge Adidas contract. And so like I would personally never usually buy Adidas stuff. So like learning a new brand was like super cool for me. Um, Also GW is like super involved in like the community. So we get to host camps and meet like the kids around here, and they come in when we do like the national anthem. We have little travel ball teams come, and like for me, I love doing stuff like that. Like I love camps and I love teaching kids. So being in college and like people looking up to you and asking you questions, like that's my favorite thing ever. I love when people reach out to me on Instagram and TikTok and like ask me questions. I'm like, yes, I will help you. So I love that my school is super big. I'm into hosting camps. Also, my school does a lot of cool stuff. We have like athlete events. And so getting to meet all the other athletes from all over the country and all over the world is like super cool. Like you have friends everywhere. So definitely meeting all the other sports and going to their events and watching them. I think that's super cool.
So what are the expectations this season for you guys? I know you said that this weekend you guys are traveling out to play in your first tournament, and I know that last year you won your conference.
Yeah, we went 22-1 in conference last year. So actually at 2:00 today, conference dropped preseason polls. So we came in at number 1, which like we're the defending champs, but like our thing is kind of like we're not really defending anything. We already won that. So like now we're gonna go win another one. And I think when it comes to conference, like we know we need to take care of business, but we also know we have a giant target on our back just because of what we've done. And we kind of came in as like the underdogs those years we won the championship. GW never really had a name in softball. And the last 4 years have really been a huge game changer for us. And so we also got ranked 37th in the nation this year. And so that's the coolest thing ever. Like being able to be on the team that's kind of like giving GW a name is like really awesome. And we love that. Like selection Sunday, that's still one of the coolest days ever of my life. Like I think that was so cool. And I love being a part of a program who's doing it for the first time. Like it and setting the expectation for the incoming people. It's so cool. So I know this weekend we're playing ACC, SEC. And so we're going to go out there, we're going to be aggressive and we're going to compete. And we just love showing up for like our conference and like putting our name on the map. It's like super big for our team.
Yeah, should be some good teams.
Yeah, we have North Carolina, UNC, South Carolina, and I can't remember the other schools we play. I think we play Lipscomb, and I want to say one other team. So yeah, so we have some big names coming up this weekend.
Awesome. How about what do you think for your future? I know you're considered a super senior this year.
Yes.
And what are you looking forward to? Like, are you looking at maybe something in the future in softball immediately after college, or you focused on your career?
So I always thought I was going to coach. I was like very passionate about coaching and very into it. I actually have decided as a career, I will not pursue softball in coaching or in playing. I might help out with my travel ball team kind of, but I'm going to law school. So I'm going to be a criminal defense attorney. So softball that's why I'm definitely cherishing every moment this year, because I know that I most likely will not be around it in a collegiate aspect, or definitely not a professional aspect, but I decided that I'm gonna go with the legal route and follow that dream. But I definitely wouldn't write it off completely, just because I know how I am and I know I will probably pick it up in the coaching aspect. But as of right now, getting my master's in law, and I'm studying for the law exam. I'm taking that on September 9th. So in the near future, probably not, but you never know what will happen later.
Yeah, yeah, keep those doors open. But
Right.
I think it's great, your focus. And so what inspired you to go into law?
Honestly, I'm super big into like social justice and kind of that stuff. So it definitely the last couple years I've been super into that kind of stuff. And I think that's very like much sparked my interest. Also being in DC and living a mile from Capitol Hill has really been interesting to me. And so I like going to the courthouse and watching cases and that kind of stuff. And GW's my undergrad, I got a minor in law, and I actually was going straight into law school, but with COVID, I decided to get my master's instead. And it's definitely like where my passion lies. And so just like being able to help people who can't necessarily like help themselves is definitely like something I want to be a part of. So criminal defense is what I'll be going to law school for. And so definitely like representing people who like necessarily couldn't afford an attorney or need a second chance. Like that's definitely what I want to do.
Okay. Yeah, that's admirable. So yeah, I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors, and definitely for this season coming up. I know it's really exciting. I know our girls are looking forward to the summer, and they're looking forward to the spring too, playing with their high school teams
Right.
and so on. But how would you say, I mean, you, like I said, when I look at the images of you like during your softball games, you look very intense. Like you are in it and you're there and you're kind of inspiring the players around you with your intensity, to be ready and to play the game. How do you approach it, practice and the game? When you go to practices, do you keep that same intensity when you step onto the field? Is that something that you strongly believe in, or what's your approach to softball?
So this year is actually very interesting because as a grad student, my classes are at night. And so I actually don't go to practice 3 days a week. I miss, but I have no choice in the matter. And so I love when I'm able to actually be at team practice. And I'm a very vocal person outside of softball. So especially playing short and being the captain of the infield, like I take that role very seriously. And especially this year, we lost a lot of starters. So this year we actually have 4 starters returning, and so there's a lot of people around me who this is their first time being on the field. And so I've kind of taken over the role as making them as comfortable as they can be and letting them know like, hey, this is your play. Let me know, like I got you. And so I take practice very seriously just because I'm never there. And so I love when I actually get to be around my teammates and we get to do some team defense. But I'm just a very loud person. And so it kind of comes out when I'm on the field. But yes, the pictures that get taken make me look crazy.
So do you think that plays into like your, when you guys do like team bonding, do you do some activities together? And I know you're busy with school, and how does that all work with having that team chemistry on the field?
Yeah, so we actually had a scavenger hunt recently. We were like broken up into teams and it was like super competitive. But my team is very close. They're very close-knit girls. We all live together and we do everything together. So that helps a lot with like the chemistry off the field. It clicks so naturally when we're on the field because we love each other and everyone is so supportive. We do a lot of My coach is super into team bonding and activities. We've done many things this year. We have dinner a lot together. We actually are doing a taco night coming up. Where it's going to be give them something to talk about. We like named it, and everyone kind of just a potluck. Everyone brings something, and we play games and we eat. So because we have a lot of grad students, so a lot of practices is kind of not the whole team. We only have about 2 practices a week where a whole team is there. So we also do a lot of extra work when in the mornings, like people who miss. So yeah, we mesh very well. So we do a lot of outside stuff. I know we're doing like a fancy Valentine's Day dinner on our off day. We made reservations at a fancy restaurant in DC. So yeah, we do a lot of team stuff at my school.
How about mental toughness? Does your coaching staff and the team, do you guys discuss mental toughness and mental health? And what types of activities do you guys do to get prepared, mentally as a group? Do you guys read different books together, or discuss different topics, or maybe watch some movies or something together and discuss it?
We haven't watched any movies or anything, but we do a lot of mental toughness like drills. If you want to say that, we have a virtual reality system that we do, and it's hard. Like it's very frustrating and it's very taxing. And so that definitely helps build our mental health and our mental toughness on the field. But we also have a like a sports psychologist, or yeah, psychologist that we can go and talk to and utilize that resource. My coach gives a thought of the day every day, and it is always revolved around focus and, you know, being open with each other. And so I think we don't necessarily talk about it as a team, but we have a lot of resources available to us if we want to go and do that.
How about you with your, do you have a routine before your games? Like some kind of, something that you do prior? Do you listen to music, or, what gets you in that mindset prior to a game?
So my dad always texts me on game day. So I have a little thing with my dad. I have a game day playlist and also my game day hair. So I always have the same game day hair. And so that's kind of like my routine, is like when I'm going to get my hair done by my teammate, like, all right, it's game time, because I don't do that unless it's a game day. Like media day, fall scrimmages, no, it's not my game day hair. That is saved for the spring. So that is a very big thing for me. And then I always drink orange juice on the bus ride. So I have like little things I do. But I always talk to my dad and kind of play some good music. I got a playlist.
Yeah, good. And then I had one last thing for you, probably the toughest question. All right, how did you get the nickname Trout?
Well, so I'm like obsessed with baseball. It's bad. Like I'm obsessed. And my dad's from Southern California. So my uncle's a Dodgers fan. My dad's Angels fan. And I was left to pick any team I wanted. And I gravitated towards Angels ever since I was a little kid. And I've always been an Angels fan previous to Mike Trout. But for some reason, I was just like, this guy's amazing. And he's my favorite player. My number is 27. Like it's just I love him, and everything about the game, like how he plays it, I love. Um, and so everyone kind of was just like, yeah, that's your name. So it's kind of funny. That actually also started GW. I didn't really get called that at Maryland. But my coach here was a baseball player. And so he loved it. He was like, yeah, that's what we're calling you. And so we actually have a drill called the Trout, but it's funny because it's like, I'm like, it's not my drill. Like I didn't name it. My hitting coach here, he loves that drill. So yeah, I love baseball. And so that kind of poured into obviously softball and my life here. It's like a very big part of my life. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's everything I had so far. Just my list of questions going through with you, and I know we're just a little early, which is fine because I know that. What do you have? You have like group study
Yeah,
or
we have
something?
a team study hall, trying to get our hours in because we are leaving at 7 a.m. So we have like a team study hall night to night.
Okay. So I guess we'll go ahead and we're going to open it up to the group here. I think we got a few other people that joined us. We are going to post this recording on our YouTube channel, so that way anybody else that's not here tonight can watch, because we have over 120 girls in our program. And I know we have everywhere from ages 8 all the way up to age 18. But I think it's great even if a family member can sit in on something like this and kind of hear the dialogue and the types of things that are discussed, so that way they become more familiar with not only softball but kind of the process that's involved. And then obviously having current players on here too is great for them, and they can ask questions and engage you. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up to the group. Does anyone have questions? And I think you're going to have to unmute in order to ask.
I do have a question. Always seems like I'm the first one to ask. First off, thank you for taking the time. I'm sure that you are extremely busy, so I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to meet with us and talk with us. I really appreciate that. I'm always curious to know, what is one thing looking back that maybe you wish you would have known or wish you would have prepared better for going from high school and travel ball into college? Like, is there something that you felt like looking back, like, man, if I'd have done that, I'd have been better prepared to move into the next level and play in college?
So I have two things. I have one that's sentimental. I would say take pictures. I wish I would have taken more pictures in high school and in travel ball. Especially now, this is like my last year. We're kind of doing a lot of senior day like preparation. And I wish I would have taken more pictures. So that's one thing. But softball wise would be nutrition. I'm super big into nutrition. I was not in high school. I didn't really care. But being in college and like, I literally get paid to play the sport. So like, if my body isn't performing, it's not good. So definitely nutrition. I wish I would have taken more notice to that in high school.
You have any other questions, Chris?
I mean, I can keep going if nobody else is going to ask. Is there, and I know it was kind of just kind of coincidental that you were recognized in high school, and I know you said you didn't really do a lot of the emailing and different things like that, but do you feel like there's anything in particular that would maybe get somebody recognized? I mean, whether it's going to camps or emailing coaches. I mean, I guess even kind of being on the other side now in college, probably hearing some of the other girls' stories. Is there something that, like talking to a girl that is getting ready to begin that process, is there like, hey, no kidding, start emailing coaches, go to camps or whatever it may be?
My biggest thing would be camps, especially how many we do here at GW. That is 100% the easiest way to get recognized, because it's mostly the whole team or all the whole coaching staff in one place at one time, which is what's 50 eyes on you, able to write notes down and go and talk to the coach about you. So I would say camps, because I've been involved in so many of them. I travel to other schools and help run their camps. If there is a specific school you want to go to, get out to their camp. I can't really speak on the emailing part because I have never done that, but I know that's super big right now and I kind of see it on Twitter. So for sure, if you're going to their camp, email them, reach out to them on social media if you can do that. I don't really know the rules now. They have changed so much since I've been in college, because I was so young talking to coaches, and I know you can't do that now. But social media, I know my coach uses social media all the time. So I would say camps and social media, reaching out to them, posting your videos, whatever you want to do, but be direct and be intentional with it. I wouldn't send a mass tweet and tag a million coaches in it. I would send a specific tweet, a specific post, and definitely get out to camps. That's my biggest advice.
Any other questions?
Hey Hannah, how you doing? This is Rick. Thank you again for taking your time out of your day to do this. I have a kind of cheesy question. Who is one of your favorite coaches and why? And do you have a favorite player that you played with and why?
Does the coach have to be a college coach?
No, all the way from the first time you started, you picked up a bat and a glove. My daughter plays, so hopefully she would say me as her favorite coach.
Okay,
But
I
anybody, or even
question.
maybe not even coached you, but you just took lessons or you took
Okay, I have
advice.
one for you.
All right.
So Lauren Gibson, she played at Tennessee. I can't remember the year she played there. She is from my county, and she was super huge, and I was obsessed with her. And I reached out to her on social media when I was a kid, and she actually ended up coming to one of my travel ball practices in middle school and gave us a whole like mini camp at when I was like 13. And so ever since then, I've kept in touch with her. I actually saw her around during Christmas break. She was doing stuff for her wedding. And so it was so cool. Like, I used to send her care packages in college. Like when I was a kid, I just thought it was like, I thought she was literally the biggest celebrity ever. And so I would say Lauren Gibson. And she also is like such a huge inspiration to me when I was a kid. Because she was literally one of the only people from where I'm from to go anywhere. So that would be my coach, even though technically she wasn't a coach, but she counts. And player, I would say my friend Bree. She is a year younger than me. My dad is also her hitting coach. So we do all of our training together back home. She plays at a Division III school in West Virginia. I'm her biggest fan ever. And she's also my best friend. I would say her. She's actually going through a coaching change right now. And since I've been through that 3 times, I've like been working with her a lot. And it's just so cool to see like she decided academically she didn't want to play D1 and deal with the stress of school. So she easily could have played at any school she wanted, but she decided to go play D3. And I just respect her so much for that, because it doesn't matter what level you play at as long as you're playing. And so I think that was the coolest thing ever. And she would be my favorite player.
That is so awesome. Awesome on both. That's great. That's great to hear. All right. I got one more question.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Those were 2 great answers. So this one's kind of weak a little bit, but thinking back to your 14-year-old self, freshman in high school, what would you tell yourself now, moving forward? Like I know you kind of touched on a little bit, taking pictures, but what would you tell yourself as far as like practice and game times, and what would you do differently, if anything, or what would you highlight for those years moving on to, I'm sure you didn't have an idea if you're going to play or not. Because that's kind of where my daughter's at, is like, she loves basketball, but she loves softball. She can't pick between the two, and she just enjoys the game. So what would you tell yourself, your 14-year-old self now, if you had to make those choices?
So, especially softball wise, it's a game of failure. I would say to relax. Like, I feel like people try to do too much or try to hit a hole, like, just relax. Like, everything's going to be fine. Literally, you can get out 7 times and be in the Hall of Fame. So, I think when it comes to like softball specific, to take a breath and relax and just know like it will work out. It will be fine. Like you put in the work, and to just not stress and put too much pressure on yourself. Because as someone I consider myself perfectionist in every aspect of my life, it's hard. This game is hard. And to just go easy on yourself. You already have your parents and your coaches, weighing on you. So like you don't need to put that extra stress on yourself, and to just give yourself some grace and just relax.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you again for your time. I see and feel the passion in your voice and in your face. I love it. So thank you again for taking the time to talk to the girls.
I had another quick question for you.
Yeah.
So what kind of coach do you like? Like, what's your style of play? Do you like a coach that's a yeller? I've had those, in my past in basketball,
Yeah.
and I did not enjoy that type of coach. I know that what they were trying to do to motivate me. I typically lean towards somebody that's able to motivate by just, talking one-on-one and communicating with you. You don't need to scream at somebody to get somebody to, play their best. But I always liked the coaches that, showed that they cared about me. on or off the field, because they seemed like they genuinely cared. So what do you look for?
So my answer in high school would have been different than it is now. So my answer in high school would have not necessarily been a yeller, but someone who's on you, someone who is going to push you and get in your face and always want more, like demand more. When it comes to college, I love you're an adult. You can do this as much or as little as you want. So like when you come to college like this, I just, the very more relaxed and like, I'm here for you is like good for me. And I love that. I don't really need someone in my face, in my ear all the time, just because for me, it being I've been in the college level for 5 years. Like I tend to think I would like to think I know what I'm doing. And so in college, I would say let a coach pour into me and give me all of your knowledge, but like let me come to you about the little specific things. And I don't like the cookie cutting. Like, when it comes to hitting, I don't think anyone really would like that. So for me, I'm a very much on the more relaxed side when it comes to college. But in high school, I definitely liked and I needed that more of a push in my face. Like when you come in college, like there's so much going on outside of softball in your life. And when softball is your outlet, when you get to practice and there's just a coach, just every little thing they're telling you, like it can be a lot and it can be super stressful. So we kind of call it like the MLB style, which like just a very relaxed, you're literally a professional, like you're getting paid to be here. And just kind of do you. Like that's kind of what I like now that I'm older. But when I was younger, I definitely would not have given that answer.
Well, that's really interesting to hear that response. So
Yeah.
I know different players look for different things, that they think they need. So yeah, appreciate that. Any other questions from the group?
Yeah, I got one, Scott. My question is, what would you, as a coach, and I coach high school also, what would you wish that coaches would have worked with you more or talked to you more about?
I would say as a hitter, pitches. I feel like in travel ball, my coaches didn't really talk about screwball, curveball, that we didn't really do that. And so when you get to college and you have pitchers who mastered a curveball, I would definitely say when it comes to live at bats and like as a hitter, breaking down pitching. Because that in college has been super big for me and, using film to do that. But I had no experience doing that until my freshman year of college. So I would say from the hitting aspect, pitches and knowing what you want to look for and narrowing that strike zone down and knowing what she's going to do. She's not going to give you your pitch on an 0 count. So I would say definitely breaking down pitching and kind of having more knowledge on that as a hitter.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Well, I know that you had a time frame to get to that group study. So we're going to go ahead and let you go. And again, we really appreciate you, spending your time with us and sharing your experience and so on. I think it's going to be really beneficial, and it's going to, obviously touch and help, like you were saying before, like paying it forward. It's going to help somebody else, in their journey. So, so I just wanted to say thank you, Hannah. And again, we'll post this on our on our YouTube channel, and I'll make sure I send you the link for that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Also, if you want to post or send out my email or social medias to your players, that's totally fine with me. And they can DM or ask me any questions through that. Totally fine.
Okay. Yeah, that's terrific. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Good luck with your high school seasons.
Yeah. Good luck with your season here starting up this weekend.
We're on SEC Network on Saturday if anyone wants to watch.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Hannah. Good luck this year.
Bye.
Yep. Good night.